And going to Mike's point, when we did meet you, I'll never forget the first phone call we had, getting off that phone call, I'm like, oh my God, like we actually have something here. We have a business, not only that had, enterprise value and was actually worth something, which
you get called, we get pinged by recruiters, LinkedIn. So you start getting these messages, and we were so happy there for so long. You don't even entertain the phone call. For a long time, we're kind of in our own bubble, right? Just focusing on growth and clients and how do we just continue to build. And then it's at some point say, hey, let's start working on our business, not necessarily in it. That's when we made the big shift. I wasn't really sure what independence meant, right? We're still figuring it out every day. But like you said, you're like, wow, am I we just on our own island? But no, it's literally more part of a community because like you said, everyone is willing to help. And that's been the best piece of the whole move for us. And everyone would just say, like, why are you guys still there? Why are you guys still there? What? Sometimes you don't think that the grass is greener on the other side. And then funny enough, it wasn't really until we got connected with you through one of our wholesale partners that he really opened our eyes and said, I think your guys' business is growing pretty substantially where you might want to look at the true independent route. And you just don't know what you don't know.
Mike and I looked at each other and go, this is the place. We went to our home office visit down there in New Orleans, and
it's the day that you're resigning. Like, how did those conversations go with clients? You left this firm, big brand name.
It just, things started to click for us, right? The marketing started to increase, the referrals started to increase. Our clients were like, oh, so now you own your own financial advisory firm. They wanted to help us. They wanted to refer us.
And I definitely had heard other people say, when you actually make that move, if you do it, you will get more referrals, you'll get more business. Clients are more willing to help. And again, we've built the business off relationships. And you kind of hear these things like, is that really true? But it is 100% true. We have gotten more referrals, more introductions.
What questions do you think a financial advisor should be asking if they're listening to this podcast and, thinking if, an insurance-based firm is their long-term home?
I think the first question they have to ask themselves is, are they doing the best thing for their client at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, we all care about our clients in this business, right? And whether you work for an insurance broker dealer or a wirehouse or so on and so forth, people care about their clients. So I think our aha moment was just like, let's go see what else is out there. Let's actually go through the process like we did with you and uncover, like, let's truly understand. Because I think that's, and I'm sure you deal with this because you dealt with us, they just don't understand really what else is out there.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Many successful financial advisors get their start in the business within a traditional insurance broker dealer. Inside of these firms, they get some of the best training, the best support in the industry to learn how to run a business, to take care of their clients. And typically on my side, I start speaking with financial advisors when their mindset sort of shifts, when their philosophy changes from more of an insurance or product first mentality to an asset management and comprehensive financial planning one. Typically, when I'm having conversations, when their philosophy changes to that, there's something left to be desired inside of their firm. And after helping Zach and Zenda and Mike Sirocco get educated on the industry landscape and seeing the impact that it could have on their clients, it was hard for them to look away. And they launched their independent practice, Ameritus Wealth, with NewEdge Advisors, an industry-leading RIA, just over 12 months ago. Today, they were gracious enough to come on the podcast and talk about some of the specific things that made the team want to start looking, what they found throughout their journey of looking around, and also how they're serving clients differently now versus after they made the move from MassMutual. Guys, I really appreciate you hopping on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait.
So if you guys don't mind just telling us a little bit about how you got in the business, how long you were at MassMutual, it would be really helpful for the listeners.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. I got in the business 2013, right out of college, degree in finance, wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do, and met a recruiter at a career fair, and 10 plus years later at MassMutual, that's kind of history, which brings us here today. But the funny thing about Zach is that we met the same first day of our, what they called boot camp training class. Yeah. And both like-minded, athletes in college, grew up together, similar family values, growth mindset. And about a couple of years in, we we became business partners and have never really looked back. But yeah, just short of 10 years was how long we were at Mass together.
So I remember in our initial conversations, just kind of talking about your journey from starting at MassMutual. I mean, as you're trained at MassMutual, obviously insurance is always one of the solutions out there for clients. And kind of over time, you met somebody inside of your organization that kind of showed you the asset management fee-based route. Can you talk about that journey a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, MassMutual was a great starting place for us. Coming into the business, we were both fresh out of college. We had zero clients, showed up to work every day and just learned how to build a business, learned how to build clients. Insurance being one of the main drivers that we had learned about. But as we started to understand more of building a fee-based practice, building reoccurring revenue for, our firm and kind of what we were looking to do to continue to grow, we realized that, we needed to have the fee-based and financial planning as the core part of our practice, but clients still want the insurance. They still want the protection products. They want everything else in between. But we realized that we needed to be able to build something that was sustainable and reoccurring to kind of continue to see the same growth trajectory that we wanted to.
Makes sense.
I'll just add that for the first 6 months, probably to a year plus, I didn't even have all the securities licenses. So we really did lead in, when you mentioned it at the top, Corey, but we just really led in with insurance first, then went after the assets and overall planning secondary, because that's how we, were compensated and what we knew, which is probably a good way to learn initially. And then long-term, we both sat there and said, wait, we really want to take a full financial planning, wealth management, be all things to all people at that time. And we've narrowed it down into more target markets, but it was just, how we grew up in the business in that world.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And typically the financial advisors that I speak to are the people that are making that move to fee-based asset management. Very rarely have I talked with, insurance-based financial advisor that's doing mostly insurance and annuities that is unhappy at a firm like MassMutual or Northwestern Mutual. It's when it shifts to the asset management point where we really start having conversations. Yeah. If you guys don't mind, you could go in depth into this as you want, but when did you start realizing that, the firm that you were at might not be the long-term partner for you?
Yeah, I'll start. I don't know if there was a specific moment in time. I think, as I would hope most people would find, as you're in the business a long time, and we consider the decade that we were there a long time in our world. Now it's hopefully much longer to go, but you get called, we get pinged by recruiters, LinkedIn. So you start getting these messages, and we were so happy there for so long, where you don't even entertain the phone call, right? As we continue to grow, it's more that we talked to a lot of other people that had left either our firm or they left other firms in a similar world. We have a lot of friends in the business now, and everyone would just say, like, why are you guys still there? Why are you guys still there? MassMutual's great. MML's great. They're, what? Sometimes you don't think that the grass is greener on the other side. And then funny enough, it wasn't really until we got connected with you through one of our wholesale partners that he really opened our eyes and said, I think your guys' business is growing pretty substantially, where you might want to look at the true independent route, and you just don't know what you don't know. I'll kick it over to Zach to add to it, but it was just, for a long time, we're kind of in our own bubble, right? Just focusing on growth and clients and how do we just continue to build. And then it's at some point say, hey, let's start working on our business, not necessarily in it. That's when we made the big shift.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think we were so insulated in our bubble for so long, just focused on surviving and growing the business and, trying to meet new people every day. But as time went on and we started having success, we started to realize, okay, are there better things out there, not only for us from just running the business, but for our clients? And, and going to Mike's point, when we did meet you, I'll never forget the first phone call we had, getting off that phone call, I'm like, oh my God, like we actually have something here. We have a business, not only that had, enterprise value and was actually worth something, which we thought it was worth nothing at that point and where we were at, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But I think as we started to go through the process with you and interview all these different firms and looking at the independent route and looking at the hybrid route and looking at the RIA space and being like, wow, like I could see us really excelling in this world, and not only helping, me and Mike and our business in Ameritus Wealth, but lowering fees for clients, being able to do more things for clients and be able to offer them more things that, as we started to see our client base, high net worth grow, we're like, look, we need to be able to service these people. We don't want to lose these to other advisors because we don't have those tools. And I think that was really that moment where I'm like, nothing wrong with MML, but I think there's just greater things that we could do for ourselves and for our clients. Mike and I are two younger advisors in the business still, like, in our mid-30s. And I was like, Mike, we've got 30 plus years in this business. Like, if we keep staying here, like everybody tells us, the longer you stay, the harder it is to leave. And, listen, it was hard to leave. We had good friends and good relationships, and, it was 10 years of our life. I mean, we ate, slept, and breathed everything about the business, and we lived at the office. We'll joke about it. We'd get in the office at 6 a.m. and leave at 9, 10 o'clock at night for a good 4, 5, 6 years. But
we did. Now we have diapers to change, so we're not in there at 6 anymore. But
yeah, I think that was the moment where it was just like, there's, listen, I don't want to say the grass is always greener on the other side. You're always going to have different issues that you've got to deal with, but we've been able to handle those issues in just a much easier way and better way and less stressful way, I would say.
Yeah, no doubt. And, there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with opening up and seeing what else is out there. MassMutual is a great firm, but, you just need to keep in mind when you're looking through this process, who a firm's lowest common denominator is. And sometimes at MassMutual, that's a brand new financial advisor that is, needs the guardrails on them to make sure that they don't get in trouble, to make sure they could be laser focused on growing their business. And sometimes as financial advisors get more sophisticated, those guardrails don't go off inside of some organizations. Where on the independent side, everyone's already a successful financial advisor. They've already built their book of business. They don't need to worry about brand new financial advisors. So that lowest common denominator is just a more sophisticated financial advisor sometimes, which leads to a lot more flexibility and different technology options, because you can make those decisions for yourself. But I guess I'm just curious, throughout the due diligence standpoint, you guys looked at, a few different firms. When you started taking a look, what were some of the things that really excited you guys about the potential future?
Yeah, I'll start. I think the first piece, and I really have to thank you, right? And I know it's about Emeritus, but this is Corey being the one that every other person that ever called us or we spoke to was at one specific company. We met you. You said, I'm an independent recruiter. I can work with every company. So when we started exploring the landscape, we just didn't know what we didn't know. So it was really focused on technology. I think outsourced investment management and a CIO was huge. And just, again, a partner that we could go to for outsourced marketing. It was just, how do we find a group that's going to help us with all of the things that as advisors, we want to spend all of our days with our clients, all day. That's all I want to do, is spend time with our clients. So how do we find a home that can help us just provide as much of that and free up our time? So it was a lot of those things, but
I think it was the education piece. Like, we didn't know what we didn't know. And as we started understanding and learning the RIA space and, the independent space, I think we started to realize how lucrative the RIA space could be for us and for what we were growing and building. What excited us was truly the partnership that some of these independent firms wanted to create with us. Like, we were looking for a partnership within a firm that was going to be able to help us grow, not kind of bring us back down to what they wanted, And I think that's where, when we finally actually got to meet NewEdge and really understand what NewEdge was doing for the advisor, Mike and I looked at each other and go, this is the place. We went to our home office visit down there in New Orleans and met with the team and, met with the two CEOs, Alex and Neil. And I think we both knew right away. We looked at each other and we're pretty much, we have a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but when it comes to the stuff with the business, we looked at each other and like, we both knew what the answer was. It was yes, we're going there because of what they were building and what we were looking to build. It just lined up perfectly. And
the one unique thing about, I know you know this, but on the back wall of the main conference room at NewEdge's headquarters, they have basically every logo of a team that's affiliated through their RIA. And we kind of sat there, we weren't facing it, but we spent the whole day there, right? I kept looking back up and I'm like, I'm asking the CEO, right? What is all this? I know it's all the teams. He goes, yeah, every team that has come on board has their logo here. And he starts telling stories about this one and that one. And I think it was also from like one thing that we were, I don't want to say lacking, but just kind of in search of was some kind of strong study group, right? Other people to help us grow. We kind of grew to one of the biggest teams in our prior firm pretty quickly. And we're sitting in this office and he's telling us, oh, this group's got $1 billion. This has 500. And we're saying, wow, like that was exciting to me to say, I want to learn from other people, which we already have. And that's been an amazing takeaway. But everyone is just so willing to help, right? I know people helped at a lot of firms and MML, but I think the big difference now in the true independent space is that we meet other advisors, other teams, other groups at these conferences and, study groups and many quarterly events that they put on. And every person is just so wanting to help us because they were us 5, 10, 15, 25 years ago. They made the big leap of faith into this world. So that was just a huge piece. And now our logo is finally up there. We're giving them some crap about it, but
nice.
It's the same. Like we want to give back right now. We've had other groups that are looking to join. Hey, can they speak to Emeritus about your journey? And we've been happy to do so. And it's, again, a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
I think a lot of financial advisors, when I'm helping them explore the independent channel, they hear independence and they think that that means that they're going to be alone. But in my opinion, it's very much the opposite. As especially if you're willing to pick up the phone yourself and reach out to other people. Business owners root for other business owners. You're not competing against other people in your office anymore to get a trip or get to, first place for the amount of business done on a monthly basis. There's plenty of business for everyone. And I've really just seen that time and time again, whether it's, advisors moving from an insurance-based broker dealer or a wirehouse, they're blown away by the community that's out there willing to help them.
Yeah. And, we were a part of, our community where we were back in the day. And I think as our business morphed and changed into what it's become today, we slowly started to see ourselves on an island. We weren't even independent, but we were on our own island, no one to talk to, no one to kind of have the same like goals and objectives and like where they wanted to take their business. And now coming here over to NewEdge, and even with NewEdge Wealth and their ultra high net worth space, we've started working with those guys where, they've got books of 500, 600 million, $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion. And, they're helping us, little old Emeritus and taking us under their wing and, doing different cases with them and stuff like that. So I feel like we've become more a part of a team than we have been in the last probably 4 or 5 years at this point.
That's
and
awesome.
I couldn't agree more too, Corey, where you said, I wasn't really sure what independence meant, right? We're still figuring it out every day. But like you said, you're like, wow, am we just on our own island? But no, it's literally more part of a community because like you said, everyone is willing to help. And that's been the best piece of the whole move for us.
Agreed.
I love it. So you guys, I remember you coming back from the home office visit, just kind of blown away by NewEdge, saying, Corey, this is the place. Let's fast forward a couple months, and it's the day that you're resigning. Like, how did those conversations go with clients? You left this firm, big brand name, people know who MassMutual is, and you went to a firm, NewEdge, which is a smaller firm that your clients probably didn't know the name of. How did those conversations go? Was there hesitation? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, people always knew that they were doing business with Mike and Zach at the end of the day. They knew our Ameritus Wealth name, they knew the MassMutual name, they knew a little bit of MML, but at the end of the day, they knew who I was and they knew who Mike was and they knew who Sabine was and our staff and everybody that kind of was, insulated around, their financial plan, their money, their insurances, so on and so forth. So the conversation, I mean, yeah, we were pretty nervous, having those first couple of conversations, especially with some of our bigger clients. You're taking this leap of faith, like these people are going to come with you. And ultimately, we brought over 95, 98% of what we wanted to bring over, which was fantastic. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you had to explain a couple things here and there of, who NewEdge was, who LPL was, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, sometimes some of our clients were like, am I still going to work with you, Zach? Or am I going to work with you, Mike? Like, Are you still my advisor? I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to make sure you want to come with us. We're just moving our business. And they were like, oh yeah, just send over what you need and I'll sign whatever you need to get my accounts over. I want to continue working with both of you guys. And, Sabine has been great. And, we've always kind of valued the team. And I think people, appreciated that. And, we really had a great transition, which was nerve wracking as can be leading up to it. And even that day, but we're a year here later and, it feels like we've been here for 5 years at this point. So.
Yeah.
I love it. So
I was gonna say, the only thing I would add on top of that is just the majority of the head trash and, concerns was internal, right? Like when we started explaining why and the story and the bigger question, like Zach said, the clients, some of them thought we could not be their advisors anymore. We're like, no, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, no, truly thankful for you and NewEdge, LPL, the whole team there, and helped prep us for the transition. And, how do you deliver that message to clients? But yeah, it was more internally us sitting there the night before, the weeks before. Is this going to happen? Are we really going to do this? Are the clients going to come with? And then once you get the first couple yeses, hey, we're with you guys and we appreciate it. It became a lot easier, but there was a couple sleepless nights for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think financial advisors, when they're handling the transition, I just did another video on this, sometimes overcomplicate it. I mean, clients are hiring their financial advisor to do what's in the best interest of them. That trust is already there. And sometimes financial advisors, when they come to me a couple of days before they leave, they'll go over this elaborate story of like why they're leaving. I'm like, just tell them you took a year of due diligence. You worked as hard as you can to find the right space with a couple bullet points of why it's a good fit. And, typically that's enough.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
So I think you guys had 100 million in assets when you transitioned, brought 98% of your assets with you. And Zach, I just had a conversation with you this morning in terms of where you guys are at now. I mean, 30 million and now at 130 million, 30 million in growth in just a year's time is obviously very impressive. I mean, what do you think led to that?
You want to answer that one first? Or you want me to do it?
You go first.
So I think it was a couple things. One is I would say probably the first 3 months of our transition was really more of just, we didn't focus on any new business at all. It was just getting all the accounts over, kind of understanding, the new systems and processes. And then after we finally got here and were able to continue to explain that story, and I think it also gave us a reinvigoration of inside the business and knowing like we're at a place now that we really want to be, that's great for us and great for our clients. Things started to click for us, right? The marketing started to increase, the referrals started to increase. Our clients were like, oh, so now you own your own, your own financial advisory firm. They wanted to help us. They wanted to refer us. I think as Mike and I have gotten a little bit older in the business, we've started to get referred to more and more of our, younger, wealthier clients' parents that have more money. And, we're continuing to see that day in and day out, right now. So I think just a combination of people seeing the successes that we're having now within our firm and the giving back that we're doing and, our client service and just kind of everything in between. And people are like, look, you own your own business now. We want to help you. Like, well, we've owned our own business for a number of years now, but we were under a bigger umbrella. Now we're more on an independent, channel.
Yep.
And, and I continue to see the growth go significant over the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, of what we have going on right now, which is exciting. Right. So
I think it was also just telling the story, like you said, Corey. The clients understood it. It also gave us, Zach said it, the reinvigoration in the business to say, hey, this is where we're at, right? We're not leaving you. We've got 20, 30, 40, whatever more years in this business because we eat, breathe, sleep it, and love it. And I'm pretty sure it was during the entire due diligence process that you mentioned. I definitely had heard other people say, when you actually make that move, if you do it, you will get more referrals. You'll get more business. Clients are more willing to help. And again, we've built the business off relationships. And you kind of hear these things like, is that really true? But it is 100% true. We have gotten more referrals, more introductions. Another just big piece for us, which I don't know how much it matters. I think it matters, but we run a golf outing every year for charity. It's always in August, right? We left last June and there wasn't a ton of time in that 6-week period. We're trying to move all the business and help our clients and understand or explain all this. and clients were like, are you still going to have this golf outing? Like, they build it up into this big, they wanted us to have it more than we do. It's a big charity event. And we had it. It was our biggest year ever. And I think people also sat there, whether they came to the event or not. And they said, wait, like, you guys raised all this money through your transition, through growing your family. Zach just had a child, like, all this stuff's going on. It just gave them the confidence that, hey, they're partners with us. And again, like, how did they help us grow? Because as we grow, it helps us be able to afford more staff and support, and it helps them in the long term also. So it's truly just a big community and family in this bigger umbrella, which is Emeritus now. So I think the golf outing was also key, but yeah, like you said, coming up on a year, I'm happy with the numbers and where we're at. We got a lot of things in the pipeline and really hyper focused on growth now. But yeah, that first 2 to 3 months there, we couldn't even think about new business. So that was a little bit of a, out of our daily and weekly routines, but you get back on it, you get all the outsourced help from the NewEdge and LPL where we're at now. And it's just helped us catapult.
Yeah.
And that makes the growth that you've had over the last year even more impressive, that you weren't even focused on growth for the first 3 months and just making sure your clients were happy and bringing them over. I mean, it seems like a very recruiter thing to say, hey, launch your own business and the referrals are going to come, build it and they're going to come. But I mean, I just think there's something deep down that people like about people that have their own small business. They root for you. They want to see that you're successful. And I see it time and time again. I saw it in my own business when I launched my own business versus when I was a recruiter at LPL or Ameriprise. I think it's a very, very powerful thing for sure.
Yeah.
From a marketing standpoint, have you guys done anything different on the independent side versus, at MassMutual, or was it just kind of more of the same and it just started to click?
I think it was more of the same. Again, just we have a lot more outsourced help through the RIA for marketing, which is great. So it frees up our time and staff's time to be able to do some other things. But I think the biggest piece is, again, fees, right? Helping clients on a number of things, but the technology, the enhancements, and some of the other investment management that we're now able to outsource and bring that into the fold on the client level. It's one thing to say what's going to happen when you make a transition to clients. When we did it and then actually followed through, I think that's another big piece, because clients, oh, you're giving me all these reports. I'm able to get on the phone with your CIO and director of trading and all things that not every client wants that, but the clients that do, that's been a big piece of them saying, wow, like, they're actually happy that they made the move with us, right? Because they have to make the decision as well. So I think that's also helped them feel more confident in referring us.
I was going to say too, I think even the 4 to 6 months leading into our transition, the marketing kind of slowed down too, because we almost were at that point where, like, when are we cutting off bringing on new clients to MML and then transitioning them out, a day later, 2 weeks later, 2 months later. So I feel like it's a combination of slowing down, ramping up for the transition, transitioning over, bringing everybody over. And then, again, like Mike said, a little bit of, same that we were doing before, but just doing more of it. And truly, I think people just have seen what we've gone through over the last, whether they've been with us for 1 month or 10 years, have seen the growth and how hard we've worked. And, our mentality is always, we want to give to everybody else before anybody gives to us. We want to help everybody before they try to help us. And I think it finally got to that point where people are like, I really want to help these guys. I want to get them more clients, like more of our clients can keep saying, I'm going to get you that person. I'm going to get you that person, and it's just become a lot of fun doing it, to be honest.
We always pretended we were in the business for 10 years, but it wasn't until last year that we actually could say we were in the business for 10 years.
Nice. So just to be fair, we've talked about a lot of benefits about the independent side. I mean, is there anything at MassMutual that you thought that they did, really, really well, that there's potentially gaps in that financial advisors considering making a move maybe should know about?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a mass or otherwise. I think one piece, which was just kind of difficult for us or would just be a help for another advisor, is it was just so easy, right? We logged in the same system, the same way every day for 10 straight years. That was just a whole big change for us. I think some of the aggregation of data, right, was obviously helpful at MML, and it's just where we logged in. So we had to make some changes on that front. But no, MassMutual, like you said, an amazing firm. The training programs to start, we're not here without that, right? The way that we started in the business. I think you just have to look at probably themselves as advisors and say, like, where do you want to be in the future? And like you said, is this the home that you potentially would want to be long term? For us, it was just a lot of those factors, but yeah, nothing against it.
I would agree. Yeah.
So in the beginning of the conversation, and I just remember from the beginning of our conversations in general, technology was something that was really, really important. You know, now that you're a year into this, I mean, has there just been any like big shockers in terms of like, you know, technology making a really big impact on your business, or has it been comparable? I mean, what are your thoughts there? Is there anything specific?
I mean, I would say the technology started to get pretty decent at Mass, you know, before we left, and over the last couple of years, they did invest a lot of money into technology, which was probably more forefront than most bigger legacy insurance companies. But I think for sure, a lot of our clients do like the Account View 2.0, which is kind of that online login system that they could log in and view their accounts. Just kind of a little bit better from a tech perspective, visually a little bit better, can do a couple more things with it. We started utilizing Right Capital. We had some more ability within Right Capital that clients started to like to use as well. You know, we utilize Redtail from a CRM perspective, which we've had no issues with at this point right now. And, you know, there's a couple different logins that we had to kind of get used to, especially, you know, logging into one place for 10 years. But it's like anything else, you adapt to it and move forward. And another big thing which we've incorporated into our practice is more on the fee-based and financial planning and charging fees, and, you know, utilizing something called Advice Pay, which is a really easy way for clients to go on and pay their financial planning or fee-based fees for whatever we're charging them for. Is just another game changer that's added another, you know, line of revenue to our firm, and, you know, just gives more transparency to clients of like, here's how we do business, you know, so on and so forth. So just kind of incorporating different new technologies. You know, we've gotten great feedback from clients across the board.
Yeah. Only other thing, not on the existing client, but on the new client side. One struggle we had was a lot of the analysis we'd run on investments, we would run in-house, right? We have some help. We had some other partners, right? But we ran a lot of that through Morningstar. Again, many softwares that people use, and we would get some help, you know, from time to time. But when we made the move, all of that investment analysis is now outsourced, right? So we've been able to get on pretty in-depth conversations as we grow and mature also in the business on the client level. And they can help, hey, here's how we're going to map this over. They'll get on the calls with us and we're able to get a report. I mean, I think NewEdge has a team of 20 to 25-ish traders that we're in really good relationships with. So I can pick up the phone right now. Our main guy is Bennett. So shout out my guy, Bennett, down in New Orleans. But we'll call Bennett. He's on it immediately. He'll drop what he needs to do. Hey guys, you know, Bennett, we're moving over these 6 accounts. Can you run me an aggregate against our custom 80/20 portfolio with a tax analysis? It's back in my inbox in 15 to 20 minutes. And then if there's some confusion, hey, let's hop on with the head trader. Let's hop on with the CFA and CIO, and they'll help walk us through that. So now when we're meeting and bringing on new clients, it's also really helped us scale to where we did some of that, but to have a full team at our arsenal that's doing that for us has been such a big piece. So that's, again, technology that's available, but they're, you know, kind of using it and helping us with it. So that to me was the biggest change. In addition to everything Zach said, we kind of were doing it. We got some enhancements now that you have like enterprise level technology in those suites, as opposed to just 1 or 2 of your own subscriptions. But it's, yeah, definitely been a big push for winning new business as well.
That's amazing. I appreciate the feedback. What questions do you think a financial advisor should be asking if they're listening to this podcast and, you know, thinking if, you know, an insurance-based firm is their long-term home?
I mean, I think the first question they have to ask themselves is, you know, are they doing the best thing for their client at the end of the day? You know, are there other things that are out there that they should be understanding, learning, you know, being able to kind of provide their clients because at the end of the day, we all care about our clients in this business, right? And whether you work for an insurance broker dealer or a wirehouse or so on and so forth, people care about their clients. So I think our aha moment was just like, let's go see what else is out there. Let's actually go through the process like we did with you and uncover, like, let's truly understand, because I think that's, and I'm sure you deal with this because you dealt with us. They just don't understand what else is out there. Whether it's being insulated or, in a bubble in your own world, you just got to say, like, am I doing the right thing for my clients? It's part of my due diligence. I should go out there and see what else is out there for them. And even today, we got a lot of friends that are, in different insurance broker dealers. And we're like, just give it a thought. Listen to what's out there. Listen to what you could be doing for your clients, for yourself, for your business long-term. But again, it's, nobody likes change. It's hard to wrap your head around saying, like, I've been with this place 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It's not easy, but I think if you're doing a disservice to your clients, if you don't go out there and just see what else is out there, and if you think what you're doing is better, then you did the right thing.
I would just say, call Corey. That'd be here's Corey's cell phone number. Just call, no, right? Like, we gotta give you the plug, but our partner, right, Joe, who helped us meet you, was telling us for a while.
Yeah.
I don't have the former message.
It's probably 6 months, 9 months to call Corey.
I talked to my guy. I'm like, dude, we're good. We're not making any moves. And then finally, all right, whatever. Give me this guy's number. Leave us the heck alone. And even in the beginning, we're unsure. You don't know. Like I said, I didn't really know what independence meant, but I think to your question of what should people be asking, Zach's exactly right. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your clients, more importantly, to go through the due diligence process. It was painful, right? There was a lot of calls, a lot of Zooms, a lot of in-persons. We brought it from, I want to say about 9 or 10 firms down to 5, down to 3, down to the final 2, and finally made our decision with NewEdge and LPL on the hybrid route. But it was a long process. It took away from the business, but I think now looking back at it a year later, like Zach said, it set us up for the future of the next 20, 30 years. We're still young guys. And I think that's the other big piece is just, you don't know what you don't know, but you kind of have that feeling in your gut of, is this right? Is it not? And if anybody's been in the business long enough, our prior firm was built on recruiting people from other firms. So what's happening in the business. It's just, are you willing to take the call? And for a long time, we really weren't. Obviously, we're thankful that we did.
Yeah, I get it. It's painful. And it's, if you're looking at plan B, you don't have 100% of your energy on plan A. I definitely get that. But you owe it to your clients, you owe it to your family to at least go out there and see what else is out there. And if it's, not good enough, at least you could sleep at night knowing that you're in the right place. So I think that's awesome advice.
Both of our wives thought we're a little they think we're crazy anyway, but they thought we're a little crazy, right? Like, you guys have been here forever. And in the early years, we went to every conference, every academy, every training. And then for like, wait, this is actually going to happen. And now they're, happy and understood. But I think it was that long process. It's not like you just talk to Corey or talk to whoever and you make your decision tomorrow, right? You truly are going through. We have a lot of clients in technology sales, right? Just for whatever reason, that's the pocket in North Jersey and New York City that we've got a lot of clients in. And a lot of these guys and girls are making moves left and right. Hey, I want to offer a better service or a better deal. Or we kind of looked at it the same way. Hey, if they're doing it, right, we got to owe it to ourselves and them to do the same. And again, that's the way it happened.
I love it, guys. I'm so happy to see the success. I really, really appreciate the time today. If anyone else wants to learn more, my contact information's all over my YouTube page and my podcast page. Guys, I'm still waiting for your golf tournament invitation in the mail, by the way. It must have got lost, but I'm waiting. I hope I get to play again this year.
August 15th. We'll see you there.
See ya.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey.